What's up, guys? I'm Jessica Cepek, and today we're going to practice the long division of polynomials. So first we have to remember how to do long division. Usually we're given a problem where we have the dividend divided by the divisor, and that gives us the quotient. So when we do long division, we have to use the box, and we always have to remember that the dividend goes inside of the box. Then it's divided by the divisor. So first, inside, divisor, outside, and that gives us the quotient. So here we can see A divided by B equals C. Remember that A goes inside, divided by B, and that will give us C. So let's see how this works with real numbers. Let's start with something really simple like 21 divided by 4. I know you guys know the answer, but let's just remember how to do long division. 21 goes inside, divided by 4. 21 divided by 4 goes 5 times. 5 times 4, 20. And we have a remainder of 1. So how do I want you to write the solutions for polynomials? Well, we'd have to write them in fraction form in the end. So we would write our answer is 5. And we have the remainder 1 over what we are dividing by 4. 5 and 1/4. So let's see how this works with polynomials. So here we have our first case. We are dividing a monomial by a monomial. So we rewrite it in the long division method. 3x squared divided by x. So when we divide by an x that has no coefficient, we just write in this 1 so we don't forget that it's there. So when you're doing long division, first you're going to be dividing the coefficients and then you divide the variables. So we start with 3 divided by 1, that's 3. X squared divided by x is x. So then you take the value that you have in the quotient and you multiply it times the divisor. So we take 3x times 1x, that gives us 3x squared, and then we subtract that quantity. So here we have a remainder of 0. If you want to check to see if the solution is correct, of course, you take your solution, the quotient, 3x, and then you multiply it times the divisor, times x, and that would give us 3x squared. Checking it out to see that we have the correct solution. So here we have a binomial divided by a monomial. First, we start by dividing our largest term in this polynomial by the divisor. So here we have 8 divided by 2, that gives us 4. X squared divided by x, that gives us x. Another way that you can think of this is as a fraction. We have 8x squared divided by 2x, which would also give us 4x. So then we proceed to multiply what we have in the quotient times the divisor. 4x times 2x is 8x squared. Then you remember, when we have long division, we always have to subtract this quantity that we multiply the quotient times the divisor. So we subtract this quantity, 8x squared minus 8x squared, that cancels to 0, and the minus 6 comes down. Then we proceed to divide in the same way. We look at this dividend, negative 6x, and our divisor, 2x. We ask ourselves, negative 6 divided by 2, that's negative 3. And we have x divided by x, which is 1. Then we proceed to multiply that. Negative 3 times 2x gives us minus 6x. Then we remember that we have to subtract this quantity. In this case, we have minus a minus. Minus a minus always becomes a plus. So here we have minus 6x plus 6x, which cancels to 0. So here we have our solution, 4x minus 3. The next example is more complex. Here we have a longer polynomial divided by a binomial. So let's set it up. When we divide a polynomial by a binomial, what we first look at is the first term of the polynomial and we look at the first term of the binomial. And that is what we're going to ask when we're going to divide. So we say x cubed divided by x, that is x squared. And then we multiply this times the whole binomial. So we have x squared times x, that's x cubed. X squared times 2, that's 2x squared. Then we have to subtract this whole quantity. I'm always going to use a different color for these exercises so that we don't get confused. Minus, minus. So x cubed minus x cubed is 0. It cancels out. We have x squared minus 2x squared. That would give us minus x squared. And the next term comes down. Plus 4x. Then we just continue to divide. So here we have minus x squared divided by x. Minus x squared divided by x is minus x. Then we multiply this minus x by both terms. Minus x times x is minus x squared. Minus x times 2 is minus 2x. Then we go to subtract this quantity, so minus a minus is a plus, minus a minus is a plus. So here we have minus x squared plus x squared, that cancels out. 4x plus 2x is 6x. Then the next term comes down, 5 plus 5. Then we continue to divide. We have 6x divided by x. 6x divided by x is 6. Then we multiply this times both parts. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 2 is 12. Then I go to subtract. Minus, minus. 6x minus 6x is 0. 5 minus 12 is minus 7. So here we have nothing else that comes down, and we have a remainder of negative 7. So our final solution would have to be written by including everything in the quotient, which would be x squared minus x plus 6 minus 7 over what we are dividing by, which is x plus 2. And this is our final solution. So now you can see we have a polynomial divided by a binomial. So we start this division by looking at the first term. We have 4x squared. The only part of this that we're going to be concerned with is actually the very first part, which is 2x, when we are dividing. So we have 4x squared divided by 2x. 4 divided by 2 is 2. X squared divided by x is x. But then I'm going to multiply this 2x times both parts of the divisor. So 2x times 2x is 4x squared. Notice that whatever we multiply this by this first term, it always has to be the same as this value that we have here. Then I multiply this 2x times the second part of my binomial. 2x times 1 is 2x. What are we going to do with these terms? Well, we have to subtract them. Subtract them. So when we do this, we know that we're going to have to be subtracting both terms. So we have to subtract 4x squared and 2x. This will give us 4x squared minus 4x squared has to cancel to 0. 6x minus 2x, that gives us 4x. The next term comes down, plus 5. So then we start the same procedure again. 4x divided by 2x. So we have 4 divided by 2, that is 2. X divided by x, that is 1. So we no longer have a variable. So then we start to multiply. 2 times 2x, that would be 4x. 2 times 1 is 2. Again, we're going to have to subtract this entire quantity. So we would subtract 4x. minus 2. 4x minus 4x cancels to 0, and we have 5 minus 2, which is 3. So our solution would be 2x plus 2 plus the remainder, which is 3, over what we are dividing by, 2x plus 1. This is our final solution. Here we have another division of a polynomial by a binomial. We're using the variable a. Does it matter? No, it's the same. So we start with the first term. We have a to the 4th power, and we're going to be dividing that by a squared. So a to the 4th divided by a squared is a squared. A squared times a squared is a to the 4th. A squared times minus 3 is minus 3, a squared. Now, remember, we're going to have to subtract this whole quantity that we just multiplied here. Notice I have a positive and a negative. So here I subtract a to the 4th, and the negative becomes a positive. Here we subtract a to the 4th minus a to the 4th, that cancels out. Minus 11a squared plus 3a squared is minus 8a squared. So then the 34 comes down, plus 34. So then I divide minus 8a squared divided by a squared. So I start with minus 8 divided by 1, that would be a minus 8. A squared divided by a squared, that's 1. So I just have 8. So then I multiply minus 8 times a squared, that's minus 8a squared. Remember, what you multiply here times the term that you have in the divisor, it always has to give you the same value that you have here to make sure you're not making a mistake. So then I have minus 8 times minus 3, that's 24. Then I have to subtract this whole term that I have here. Subtracting both, so minus a minus would become plus, and minus 24. So I have minus 8a squared plus 8a squared, that cancels out. I have plus 34 minus 24, that would give us 10. So our final solution is a squared minus 8 plus 10 over a squared minus 3. Here we have our last problem, which is actually really, really great. So please watch carefully. We start with minus 3 divided by 1. So we have minus 3. X cubed divided by x, that's x squared. Then we multiply this. Minus 3 times x, minus 3. X squared times x, that's x cubed. And then we multiply this by the second part of this term. Minus 3 times minus 11, that's plus 33. X squared times no variable, that's x squared. So then we go to multiply, we go to subtract this. So let's look at this really carefully. Minus 3x cubed minus x cubed. So a minus becomes a plus, and this one is a minus. So this cancels out, and we have 363x minus 33x squared. Can we subtract this? No. So what do we have to do? We're going to have to add in a middle term here that has an x squared. There is no x squared here, so we have to add in 0x squared. Let's start again. As you can see, I added the middle term that we are going to need, which was the 0x squared. Does this change the value of this polynomial? No, because of the 0. So here we go, we divide again. Negative 3 divided by 1, negative 3. X cubed divided by x, x squared. We multiply it out. have to subtract this entire quantity. So minus a minus becomes a plus, and this plus becomes a minus. Minus 3x cubed plus 3x cubed cancels out. 0x squared minus 33x squared is minus 33x squared. The next term comes down, plus 363x. So we start with minus 33 divided by 1, which is minus 33. X squared divided by x, that is x. Then we multiply this times this entire quantity. Minus 33 times x, minus 33. X times x is x squared. Minus 33 times minus 11, mental math, that would be positive 363. X times no variable, x. Then we have to subtract this entire quantity. So the negative becomes a positive, and the positive becomes a negative. We subtract. Minus 33x squared plus 33x squared, that cancels out. We have plus 363x minus 363x, and that also cancels out. So our final solution is what we have in the quotient. That's all for today, guys.